Okay, BKK, how are we doing today? So let's start with a brief intro of all of us and a bit of Dubai horror story for the flavor. So my name is Hongye. I'm with Amber Group, and we're one of the leading market makers, liquidity providers in Asia. And also we do a lot of treasury management services. I cover the APAC regions, and it's great to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm CEO of Arclight Labs. We're a venture studio for content creators. Basically, we look at creators as entrepreneurs, as founders. So how do we help them scale their business from where they're at now to all the ideas that they want to take to life? So thanks for having me.
Hi everyone, my name is Irene Umar. I'm CEO and co-founder of WeGG. It's one of the sub-DAOs of Yield Games in Southeast Asia. So we talk about onboarding communities from Web 2 to Web 3, or for me, any gamers who would like to be in Web 3, then we will be the place to go to, because for us, we believe in elevating gamers beyond play. It's about time for all the gamers to be united together so we can all get to the next level.
Yeah, very nice meeting everyone here. This is Leo from CARV. And what we are building right now is a modular data layer for gaming and for AI. And upon our data layer, we build several applications with the mass adoption, including CarPlay, which is a gaming platform for social distribution and also the profiling of the gamers. And I already have 2.5 million registered users so far. And before building CarV, I have been working in the traditional gaming for around 10 years in the games companies like Garena, Tencent Games, and Electronic Arts. Yeah, very glad to be here.
Thanks for inviting me. My name is Yuki Pan. I'm from Moonbeam Network, working as a community manager in the APAC market. So for Moonbeam, this is a EVM compatible layer 1 network on top of Polkadot shared security infrastructure. We're offering cross-chain messaging protocols and different kinds of solutions you can imagine in this Web3 industry. And beyond on that, we can help out an application deploy on Moonbeam to help them expand the multi-chain expansion in a very short period. And beyond on that, there is also an exclusive tip that our ecosystem network called Tenzi Network can help out a developer to build up their own app chain within 10 minutes. So that's very fast, for anyone who wants to establish their own customized environment and services in this industry.
Hey everyone, I'm Don Norbury. I'm the co-founder, CTO, and studio head for Shrapnel, which if you don't know what it is, shame on you, but it's an extraction FPS game with a creator ecosystem built around it that's built from the ground up and designed from the ground up with blockchain in mind. I've been making AAA games for about 20 years, and just in the last few years decided to go on this crazy journey with Shrapnel and bring it to life for everyone.
Great. So no one's sharing their Dubai stories?
Mine's boring, though. Mine is, I tried to go to Dubai and got stuck in Doha for 2 days.
Lucky you. I took 13 hours from the airport, because I got routed to Sharjah, to get to a hotel that I booked an hour before I get there. And I was kicked out from 2 buses, kicked out from metro station, kicked out from a coffee shop before someone came and rescued me in a truck.
Damn, in comparison, Bangkok is such a step up for all of us. So we're happy to be here. And obviously we all work around the gaming sector within crypto. And then each of us have different features on our platform. So how about just go in a bit more in details about the role of your individual platforms in supporting creator communities? Anyone who want to start? Kevin?
Yeah. All right. So I when I take a step back of where creators live in the overall gaming ecosystem, my background formerly, I was at Twitch, so I got to see 3 million content creators every single month streaming all types of different contents. We've seen creators. My thesis is that creators are going to be the focal point to everything. They're going to be the ones creating their own Disney, meaning that they're the ones going to be making their own games, publishing their own games, and trying to own a bigger piece of the pie now that they're the modern day television. So with that, I believe creators are an extension of the developers, and they really are super passionate about the games that make them feel alive, make them feel like they're treated well. And I look at games like Fortnite, League of Legends, Valorant that really incentivizes creators to create alongside them. And I think this model is going to be much more exciting with Web3, especially as creators are now angel investing into games and now launching their own games. We just saw that with a massive creator group called OTK. They just published their own game yesterday at I think Mushroom Studio. So that's what I'm actually super curious about. And we're looking at the A16 game, A16Z speedrun games where we had Shroud also angel invested in games. So we're starting to see creators taking a more active role because for a long time they've only monetized through content and sponsorship. But now it's like, okay, well, if we're going to be the ones driving this much hours watched to the game that we love and that we play, and how do we actually own a piece of it? And I think this is where the ecosystem of Web3 really opens up.
Cool. All right. I guess we're going one by one, right? In line. So for me, for the basics of all is that I believe every single human beings are creators. That's why we are blessed with this amazing brain of us, and we cannot ever be taken over by AIs, no matter how smart they are, right? So the creative juice is definitely there. And I believe that every gamers can be content creators in different formats. Like with Shrapnel, I think we're speaking about having the skins of the guns, right? Of having the our community, our guild communities to create something like something for Shrapnel. So it's something very simple, but it creates a sense of belonging of the gamer towards a certain games. And it's always our childhood dream as gamers to own a piece of a game or to be a part of a game. In the past with Web 2, it's impossible to do. Now we can. And then we go to the next step of the luckier people, right, who could essentially do be developing a games. So for the game developers, what we have done last year is we did Game Jam program, where in November, I think we attracted around 320 teams in the Philippines to compete. And this year, we are going to do an intervarsity university competitions all across Southeast Asia that will be supported by the government as well. Because we see that there's a lot of platforms, there's a lot of L1 and L2 that needs content. And one of the ways to do that is to go to universities, to go to game associations, to go to the game developers who wants to come in and how they can be bridged into Web3. Because for me, Web2 or Web3 doesn't matter as long as it's a game that's fun, right? It's that kiddish side of us. So that's one layer of content creators of Game Jam. How do we bring them into our platform? We just launched our Soulbound token. Currently, it's gated for our community, so it's on referral basis only. And we are already talking to a couple of partners to see how we could help them to grow their communities and to sync up with the entire YGG network. So that's one layer of content creators. Second layer of content creators are the traditional content creators that we know, which is the influencers, the KOLs. And a lot of us, we only see the big KOLs and the mid-tier KOLs, and a lot of them would like to contribute because every one of us start from 0 followers, right? For YGG itself, we have case studies where we have content creators from the community that started from 0. And today they are at around 30,000 plus, and they start from 0 literally. And a lot of them were previously the background is factory workers, people who sweep the floor, people who generally users, right? And these are the people that, in WeGG, the pride that I have when we say grassroots, I can put a name and a face to my community. And if you go there to our booth, those are our community members. There's one that just flew in, first time in a plane, first time out of Indonesia. And that's the pride that we have. And he is going to be one of the content creators that we have. So how are we going to do that into the platform? Within the platform, Soulbound Token is the beginning of it. We have a quest specifically for content creators so we can matchmake between gamers, games, and the content creators, forming the entire ecosystem. And if people say that, oh, are you competing with all the other fellow Soulbound tokens? I would say no. And CARV, we often are compared against. In fact, we also invested in CARV. And that's going to be collaborations that we see that will happen because the pie is too small. We together here will need to grow the ecosystem together. So that's what we do.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out the WeGG's booth, it's so fun. It stands out, so please go check it out after. And Leo, you want to go next?
Yeah, thanks for the amazing ideas. I'd like to share more about like how, as a gaming platform, we can empower the creator communities. Because we see the situation like for each of the game, they have their own creator communities. For example, Zhang just shared about Shrapnel, have the creators helping them do the avatars, right, the monetization items in game. And also for each of the game projects, they also like eager to recruit like more content creators from other gaming projects, from other communities with their experience. And for the creators, most of the creators, they are doing the contributions for multiple projects at the same time. So the situation is like multiple games and multiple creator communities, how we can match them to each other and find the best practice, and how can a game know more about their creators before they actually collaborate to know like what contribution they have made for other projects and what kind of skill they have and what is their skill level. So this is what we think we can do as a gaming platform, which is the creator marketplace and also a credential system. And what we are doing right now is a program called the CARV Guardian Program. We have been running this program for around 1.5 years, and we're recruiting around 120 volunteers globally from more than 20 countries. They are helping us to do the BD, the community management, and also to run the local events, the localization, and also the content creations for each of the country. So every time we are producing a new feature or maybe running important events, and we are letting our communities, the guardians, help us to do the content creation, including like one pager for marketing or maybe the short videos to spread on TikTok and extra. And right now, CARV and our game partners are utilizing this Guardian program. But this is only the first step. What we are going to do in the next couple of months is to make this as a marketplace. It's like when creators come to CARV, they can verify their contributions as the credentials. No matter they are doing some content creations for CARV or for any other projects, we can verify that and give them a level up system. And also, they can verify their skills, no matter they are doing coding, the 2D, 3D, arts design, or modeling, or maybe the game level design or extra. So they can verify their skills. So this can be a place for the games to find the precise profiling of the creators they want to help them to do the content creations or maybe longer term collaborations. So this is what I think the gaming platform can empower the content creations, the talents marketplace, and also the credential-based system.
So it's like a Craigslist for gamers and content creators and the game studios, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like the credits in Alipay. Yeah.
Okay. And it would be tied to a ERC20 token? Like...
yes, we'll make that a Soban token for each of the content creators.
Okay. Yes, okay, gotcha. Okay. Yuki, you want to go next?
Yeah, so as a layer one network, so our end is very super at the bottom end. So to help out like a project, no matter it's from a gaming application or an NFT like marketplace, we can help them out like how to focus on your core business, and for our end to make the whole network performance, to launch every business very easy, fast, and high efficient. So that's what we really want. So that so on Moonbeam end, we have set up many like pre-compiles. That's kind of a contract which can let our developers, not mean the creators. So for the creator definition on Moonbeam or on layer one, we regard them as our creators, the developers. So we can help them like to come to what they want from the technical end in several minutes, and it's very fast, and the security part. So this is like as a layer one we need to focus on, and others would be some of the ecosystem support. But I would say like a more of a collapse operations with other gaming platforms like the Shrapnel end, or we can collect more external collaboration in the future.
I don't like being at the end. I have to like follow all of this.
The next question, you can go first.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, and you know, I would say Shrapnel's approach as a platform and its origin is a little on the nose with creators, right? It's a creator ecosystem built around a specific extraction shooter. So we took kind of a thesis that we had very early, which was you have these kind of generations and cultures of creators, and they take various forms, but you know, in interactive mediums, you've got kids in Minecraft, you've got kids using Roblox. They're kind of aging up and out into these things, and there's this kind of sandboxy notions, like Sandbox, but sandboxy notions that are kind of these blue sky examples that people can get into and kind of express themselves. But we felt that there was this missing strata of a fleshed out like world that had world building, which for the pedigree for our particular studio and where I come from is what gets us excited. We like building worlds, crafting narratives that people want to get invested in and participate in and give their own expression within. And so we took that approach of, yes, you can do all of these things within Shrapnel, but we're providing you this universe that has intrigue and you know, it's provocative and you want to become involved. So it's not boundless what you can do in it necessarily, but it almost intrigues and kind of entices people in a different way. And then we layer on kind of the tools that allow them to express themselves within that universe that we provide. So, in our case, it's kind of like sticker sheet editing, it's insignias, it's weapon skins, it's equipment, it's maps itself that other players can get into and play around with and kind of experience that time with each other. And of course, our whole like idea and thesis was from the bottom that those people should be rewarded and incentivized for the work that they do and for making the amazing content that the other people are experiencing. So, especially with something like maps, you can see kind of the full expression of something like that, where and we will consider this our like success moment, which is more people in Shrapnel are spending time in a player created map than they are in a map that the actual Shrapnel team creates. That's kind of like the crowning moment of success for us, which is we've provided the tools, people are being rewarded appropriately, and it's created that flywheel of kind of creator content that'll carry it forward. Of course, then we introduce new content and new tools, and it kind of goes back and forth, and that's how you keep things moving forward and keep it fresh. And you have to do that to a certain degree because it's not just a sandbox environment. It's a specific universe with a specific story. That's kind of one layer of the creators. And you've heard everyone, kind of allude to the different layers of creator ecosystem. Of course, not everyone plays shooters, but a lot of people watch shooters, and a lot of people are going to participate in a way that allows them to express themselves artistically. We take a very transmedia approach in terms of comic books, live action film. Again, we come from Xbox and HBO and have done actual like Hollywood productions before as well. So the approach that we take give people different touch points to express themselves in different ways. And that includes kind of the watchability and the streamability of the game and all of the assets that people can get into themselves. And that kind of creates these nexus of like rock stars that emerge from the community. Some of these networks just exist naturally, right, of humans. A lot of like Web3 is effectively like a formalized protocol for networks of humans who share things in common already. So we're effectively taking advantage of that, right? Allowing that to express itself and flourish in the different ways that people can interact in Shrapnel.
And that's very dope, because I just realized that we do have like a pretty complete value chain of the game vertical on stage. Like we have, the investors, and then we also have the infrastructure, we have the experience, and we also have the community. And just wanted to have like a knowledge sharing moment. What kind of user-centric approaches that you've seen recently that really stood out for you? It could be something from your own platform, but it could also be something that you see elsewhere. Something fun.
No, go around, keep going.
You said that you didn't want to go last, so.
Yeah, I mean, when you use the words user-centric approach, the first thing that springs to mind is, again, like when we first started getting into Web3, 3 or 4 years ago, our whole thing was, wow, this takes a lot of effort and a lot of knowledge just to get into it. And granted, like it's one of those, you kind of lament as things get better, the community changes. But at the same time, it's what needs to happen in order to like get everyone involved, right? And bring everyone in. And you're like, how do we preserve or attempt to preserve that sort of style of community? I don't want to call it gatekeeping, but there's like a certain intellectual honesty and curiosity to it. But at the same time, make it frictionless so that everybody can participate. Not everyone's going to understand what they're getting into initially, but we want to create a situation where more and more people have a reason to come in and can come in without having to jump through hurdles, to do it in a way that's familiar. So like for us in Shrapnel, we take an approach that we have a persona, basically a design approach that's a persona graph that says like, these are all these different people that we attach our own goofy names to. We have one that's Toby, who is a gamer in Kansas who knows nothing about blockchain and just plays Call of Duty on his console. And like everything that we do, we say, like, why would Toby come into this? What would Toby go through? And what would be the experience? Where would he bounce out and not care and just go play something else and never get into the Shrapnel experience? So for us, right, that's our game's a shooter. So we always use the path of they have to get in, download the game, and shoot somebody in the face as quickly as possible. That's what you do in a shooter, right? So it's a kind of a purist version of that, because that unlocks, it's a key that unlocks the door to all the other dope stuff that you can do, right? That then Toby's like, oh, I kind of want to, I want to move towards this customization stuff. That looks interesting. I like that. How do I get that, right? And then, equip that. And I don't really have to think about the fact that anything exists with like a blockchain foundation. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we preserve and enable the more like degen approach to everything. You can still link your non-custodial wallet. You can still transfer everything in and out, right? Like those capabilities are still there. We still enable all the kind of interesting platform integrations, like gamification of your marketplace, allowing social structures to exist that connect to the social structures within Shrapnel. Like those are the reasons we're doing it in the first place. So of course they're there, but Toby doesn't care about that yet, right? At the beginnings, it's all about getting Toby in to experience at least a familiar enough space and to do the thing that he wants to, so that the rest of those things seem like an inevitability, not this like frictional hurdle.
I have 2 examples of user-centric things that I love. The first would be Magic the Gathering. So one of the things that they do is something called Friday Night Magic. It's pretty much every hobby store around the world, every Friday for the last like 25 years, have hosted Friday Night Magic tournaments. I think every year it's about 1.5 million Magic the Gathering events hosted without a single Wizards of the Coast staff. Kind of created this like church-like experience with the game surrounding their games. And then one of the systems inside Friday Night Magic is called their judge system. I think there's about 6,000 judges, but essentially, as a judge, you have to go to Friday Night Magic events and judge official games and get credits for every game that you judge. So the more you judge, the more you climb up the ranks. And then the funny thing is they're doing this all out of their own time. Wizards not paying them to do it. But again, it goes back to what Irene said about sense of community. This is one of the oldest examples of sense of community, where you have, I think no other game has like created face-to-face interactions at this level for decades. So I think that's something that I look at from like a community design side as one of my favorites. And then from the other side, which is my favorite content creator-led initiative as of late, is with World of Warcraft, something called the Makurad Challenge. But basically, there's a server in WoW where you can only die once, and if you die once, you're dead forever. And so what they did was they created a whole group of creators created the Makurad Challenge, where they did a $100,000 prize pool where everyone has to make an account character on a certain day, and they have a whole month to get to max level. And then they have to fight to the death on top of that. So you can't die from level 1 through 60, which is incredibly hard. And then you have to get all the best gear as fast as possible, because it was only a month. And then you have to duel to the death against all the players that are left remaining. So it's kind of like Sword Art Online, if you are watching that anime. I thought that was an insane way that creators have taken such an old game like World of Warcraft. It's been around for like, again, over 2 decades. So I think those are some of the ways that I think with creators that I thought it was just a really fun entertainment experience.
Yeah, there are like 2 cases I would like to share. The first one is from our own project. Another is like more generous gaming cases. For CARV, what we are building is the modular data layer. So the concept is to allow the users to actually, they can own, control, and also monetize their data. Because like in the previous Web 2 way, like the user's data belongs to the like centralized companies. For example, if you play Tencent games and all your data belongs to Tencent, and they can utilize your data to do anything they want. But we are providing like a data layer to like aggregate the users' different identities in the IDFT, and also to storage the user's data in Greenfield, and also to like use the TE clusters to do the execution of the user's data. So every time when the user's data is utilized by the game or by the brands for example, the target advertising, or maybe for the user's data analysis, and the users can take a share from their data value exchange. And also their data privacy is like protected in our data layer. So this is a concept we released to the market, and also we are doing a demo since last December. But we feel that users really like it, and we noticed a very strong users growth in the past several months based on the data to earn features. It means like the users are eager to finally can sit in the center of their data value exchange process. So this is the first case I see. Another case I see in gaming is for the users content creations, the deepest level for the users content creations is the users created gameplay, but it's only for several certain genres. Users created gameplay can really be utilized by the games. For example, the games with the sandbox elements, for example, Minecraft. Or also recently there is a game quite popular in China called Aggie Party. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about that. That name is a NetEase game with a very large DAU. And that allows the users to create the content as the gameplay. And the reason why this kind of genres can utilize the user's content as the gameplay is because their gameplay is super flexible and also very simple and does not require very high quality for the user-generated content as the gameplay. But for more genres, for example, the AAA single-player games and also for MMORPG, this is the genres that requires really a lot on the content. We can call it the content-consuming genres because when they produce a new map or a new game level, the users will only consume this content for one time or several times. After that, they will be expecting the new content. Otherwise, they will AFK or just leave the game. So these games really need the user-generated content, but it's very hard for them to utilize the user-generated content as the gameplay because it requires the very industrialized, systematic teamwork to produce the content. But right now, I see many cases with the AIGC tools, it's very easy for the users to create some of the content, even though they don't have the professional coding or doing the 2D, 3D, art design, modeling skills. And the AI can help to provide them some of the skills, and it's easier for the users to complete gameplay related content for this kind of games. So I think this may change the development process in the future in the next couple of years.
You want to go first?
After you.
Cool. So for me, when we talk about communities, right, I'm from Southeast Asia, and 600 million populations, 300 million of them are from Indonesia, where education-wise is not that high. So there's not a lot of coders that's available, right? So what we want to do, but we have a lot of gamers, a lot of really good gamers. And yes, we could say that priorities might be skewed, where every single young populations in Southeast Asia do have a phone. They might not have a house. They might not have a laptop, even though they are in university or studying. I don't know how they do it, but they'll have a phone, right? So that's the only means of entertainment that a lot of people have. So which means that they play games. And the phenomenon that we see is that how to make it easier for these guys to be onboarded, because in the traditional games, right, for them to be a part of a game industry, they need to be either freaking good in playing the games to make it to esports, or they need to hold a certain degrees in order to make it into the industry, or they need to be able to code. And what's sad is that those that are able to code, that made it past the social stigma or past their parents' agreement to get them into game developers, maybe they can graduate as game developers but might not find a career there, right? Because we see a lot of contents that are created that goes to waste. So based on this numerous amount of contents that's there, what we're doing right now is first we're doing the game jam, and second, the things that we see which was a hurdle between Web 2 to Web 3, which is creating wallets, all of us face it. Right? It was so freaking difficult. Right now, since last year, there was a trend of, using a Google sign-in. But the question is, what is next? Right? After Google sign-in, what is next? Yes, people enjoy playing the games, but then what is next? How do we level them up? Not only within the games, but I'm talking about real-life scenarios. And that's why our tagline is elevating gamers beyond play. And so what we see more and more is that a lot of game developers right now have started to see the importance of having grassroots, and real grassroots when we talk about the people. It's no longer about data points, right? It's beyond the data points. Data is important. It could be a bot, but who's the person behind it? And that's why when we launch the Soulbound tokens, we want to really have the soul within it. The Soulbound tokens that we have will have a couple of things. One, you have a Google sign-in. Second is that you'll have a wallet that's automatically generated by you, but that doesn't stop there, because we have a We Learn pillar where we want to see how we can level them up. Yes, you have a wallet already, but we want to transition you so that you can own your own wallets. Yes, you start playing the games through gamifications. How do you channel yourself into Web 3? through the communities that we open up, how do you become a Discord moderators if you are at home? Doesn't matter which village that you are in. As long as you have internet connection, you'll have access to it. And if you're really good players, how do you get into the esports play of things? And this is the sense of community that comes in. Is it something that's new? Not really. So just now, Kevin mentioned about the oldest examples, right? I'd like to cite 2 examples. One, for the game developers, from the game developers community, annually, every January, there is a game jam program where the whole world will pause for a while and do a game jam for 48 hours to come up with sometimes really, really fun games. And these are top-notch game developers who do it passionately, and they don't sleep for 48 hours, and you'll see the results of it. Some of it is crap, some of it is funny, some is really good. And I've seen so many good games. One of them from Indonesia, for example, from Toge Productions, called as shit, I forgot the name. Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk is a game that was coming from Game Jam, and that game was launched during COVID, and it's actually one of the games that cure mental wellness, mental health. We were pretty surprised, including the game developers. So that's one, right? Second, everybody knows Mobile Legends. In Indonesia, the statistics is that user-generated community events per month is more or less 2,000. Are they in Discord? No. Are they in X? No. Where are they? WhatsApp group, Facebook group. They are in the communities where they hang out together. And that's what we built in WeGG. Is it that someone just spoke to me just now, right? Ben, a good friend over there. What you're doing is difficult. I'm like, yeah, but someone has got to do it, because we can't just look into the Web3 communities and full stop. We, as a Web3 industry players, we have to do something to see how we believe in this technology that could bring about changes in the world, that could bring elevate gamers beyond play. And I believe every single human beings are born a gamer, right? We all like playing games. So how do we elevate the human being part? Gamifications. Make it easier for everyone. Don't make their life more difficult. Stop using jargons that people do not understand. Go back to the basics so that we can bring them in. Because the larger the pie is, the more we could make a difference in the world.
So I learned a lot from it. This sharing insights. And for us, like the most important for as a layer 1, we need to identify what our target users. So from our experience, we have seen like 4 different type of players within the gaming projects. One would be like a content creator, as we previously mentioned, and secondly would be like NFT hunter, and or like NFT minter. They will generate NFT and wait for a while, like the current restaking or staking mechanism just happens within the gaming projects. And the third part will be airdrop hunter, and even the speculator. They just find the opportunity, buy in the bottom and sell sell in the top. So for us, like there is no prefer or prioritize the target users as us. We want the target is to, for every stage, to find out the best appropriate players and the users for those, no matter like gaming projects or the developer toolings on that. And beyond on that, for us, this is like best to, as I mentioned before, to help out our potential clients, the gaming related projects, to focus on their core business. So for us, we will help them to find out like VRF, such like developer tooling dashboards and explorers, and others will be from even they want to build up like an app chain. So we can help them to upgrade the narratives on that from the technical part. So this is like what we can help them to smoothly grow up quickly and sufficiently to help them grow with the players together and grow with the community together. So I believe like in that part, this is not focused on a commercial business. This is more like for the culture of a community. They can feel like they are growing with the community, the project together. So that's from our perspective. We are looking forward to do that.
All right. Thanks for all the sharing. It was so fun to hear from different perspectives. And do you have something you want to say? No. Okay. So unfortunately, we don't have FAQ in this session, but we do have a question coming from one of our panelists that he wants to know more about the Southeast Asia experience. I mean, we all know that it's very important. It's a very, user-intensive market. That's why we're all here, I think like 3 of us flew from elsewhere, and two of you based here. So do you guys want to take the lead and introduce the market a little bit? And I think something that I really want to know is how do you feel like the market has matured from last cycle? I think that's something that people rarely talked about. But
I guess I'll take the lead on this since it was me as the one that broached this question. I recently moved to the Philippines the last 3 years. Never played Mobile Legends, but then quickly realized how crazy and powerful it is, given that everyone at all ages played that game, and it's really penetrated society. And I think that's one of the things that I thought was really incredible when I moved out here, and seeing how much it matters to people here. I think what Moonton has done really well is that they super invested in growing the esports ecosystem. They didn't really care about what the rest of the world was doing, but they really created the M championships for the people and the fans of Southeast Asia. And so I guess from the people that have lived here, I'm just curious on if you're launching a game in Southeast Asia, you said 600 million people, all different languages, all different behaviors. I guess what are one of the special things that anyone should consider if they were thinking about treating the market correctly? I think for me, one of my gripes about the creator marketing side is I don't think people fully understand influencer marketing and creator marketing. So I think those are, and then they treat Filipino creators with way less CPM. And I think that's been a hard conversation, given that Filipinos are, they speak English first. Their audience do branch outside of the Philippines, given that they do speak English. So they should command a higher rate. So I think those are just my 2 cents in it. But love to just use the rest of the time to learn more from the experts here.
So you're asking a question, okay?
Yeah, how should you consider launching games in Southeast Asia, given that behavior is so different?
I think one thing to be recognized is Southeast Asia is in Singapore it's a rojak, right? It comprises of different types of fruits that you have to appreciate one another, even though they're jumbled out together and you eat it as one. So language is definitely one thing. If we pick any countries in Southeast Asia, including Philippines, even though everybody's speaking Tagalog and English, right? You ask Kevin to speak in pure Tagalog and do not have English into it. I bet you she can't do it.
Oh, don't put me on the spot.
And there are so many other languages out there and so many different cultures. Even you can see it from the food. Thailand, if you go north to south, it's completely different. So when a game comes in, or any companies comes in and look at Southeast Asia, you can't jumble it up as one, because there's diversity there, and that's where it's fun. Mobile Legends is very successful because in every region that they have a localized skin. In Indonesia, they have Gatot Kaca, for example. With the localized skins, there's a sense of familiarity that people have within the game. But again, for me, the powerhouse of it all is the community. Everywhere you go, there are people who play Mobile Legends and they are not paid for it. In fact, because the people might not be able to afford a Nike shoes, for example, right? But they will be able to buy a Nike shoes in game, not only Mobile Legends, and in others. And if you look into the statistics of those who have 2 games of branded jeans, branded wearables, it's pretty significant. I don't have the latest numbers now, but when I look at it, it's crazy. And the people who buy it are the people who couldn't afford the real thing, right? But what does it mean then? It means the driver of any games and any brands out there will be the community. How do you get in touch with the community? First is mindset. When you look at them, think first, what is it that they want? Not how to extract from them, which is unfortunately how a lot of brands are thinking, right? So my approach will be, look at Southeast Asia, come in, and be willing to work with each and every one of them, because the moment you get through that hurdle, the first 1,000 OGs is the most difficult to reach. But the moment you hit that 1,000, that's it. The 1,000 OGs are going to be the ones that's going to spread it for you like wildfire. And that's why the 1,983 community events per month that's done in Indonesia as of 3 years ago, that was all done by communities. There's no way Mobile Legends could do it. And why? In the beginning, they spend their time to do it, to actually meet the communities, to know who they are, to know who the community leaders are, and to get them ground up. And I always like to say, because my background is bankers, right? Everything is the same shit, different names. So if I look at Oppo, right, one of the mobile phone brands in Indo, how do they penetrate to the market? They go to the village. Every single village, you'll see that Popo thing going around. From no one knowing it, it becomes one of the top brands in Indonesia through distributions. So again, why do we do the hard work? Because distributions, laying things on the grounds, those are the most important thing. It's not only online, we have to do it online and offline. It's not only Web3, we have to be on the ground, Web 0, Web 1, and Web 3. That's how we will be able to get a hold of the communities.
Okay, so unfortunately our time is up, but it's such a fruitful session for me. Like, I learned so much, and I hope you guys do too. And let's give a round of applause for all the panelists up here, and thank you guys so much for talking to us today.